Hello and welcome to Schola Progenium and Morning Glory's hairy legs in the corner.
Yeah, baby.
Oh God. So today we have a battle report with the Blood Angels. Now I was going to mix my list up a little bit. It's been a couple of weeks since I played and I was in my sort of last lessons that I learned. Bit of alliteration for you there. Sorry, let's get serious now. Let's get down to business.
We started off on a very unserious.
No.
We are professional.
We're
Anyway.
way too relaxed, but let's get into it. Essentially, I was going to swap my list around a little bit and get rid of some of the intercessors, but the troops, they have been doing really well for me in terms of board control. I wanted some Terminators in there because they seem more to include, but I thought, you know what, it's been a couple of weeks since I played, been on holiday, that kind of thing, so we're just going to use a list that I've become familiar with throughout 9th. So for those who haven't seen the previous battle reports where this list has been developing, I'll go into a little more detail now. So we'll start off with the HQs. We have a Lamartes, just a custom Lamartes, and he will be taking the one that makes you +1 to hit and the one that makes you +1 to wound, litanies wise. Then we have my Smash Captain, Alexander Garviel. He will be Death Company for 1 CP, and his relic will be the Hammer of Baal for another CP. So I'm spending 2 before the game starts.
But no Artisan of War, you naughty boy.
No, instead I'm going to make him a 5 Invuln with Gift of Foresight.
Okay.
Not Invuln, feel no pain. So then we have Mephiston, and he's going to take Wings of Sanguinius, the Quickening, and Unleash Rage. Or Unleash Fury, I can never remember the name of that psychic power.
Just call it Unleash Anger as a catch-all.
Well, he essentially, the one that makes him angrier, the one that makes another squad angrier, and the one that makes him fly.
Right.
The easiest way to think about it. Then we'll move on to the elites, and also this guy is a character but not an HQ. Of course, we have a Sanguinary Ancient, he's got an Angelus Wrist Bolt Gun, and a Power Fist, and he's got the banner that gives a 5 Feel No Pain to anything that isn't Death Company within 6 inches. Then we have 6 Sanguinary Guard. They're just so powerful these days and so expensive that I find I've gone down from 9 to 6. I'd rather have 7, but I don't think you need 9 anymore. Although they're so powerful, you're not going to go wrong with 9, but you're going to overkill whatever you hit. And multi-charges are penalised in this edition. So all in all, it's kind of more efficient to have a smaller squad, I found. So 3 axes and Carmine axes, 3 and Carmine swords on these guys, and death masks, of course. Then we have 10 Death Company with 4 power swords and 6 chain swords. They've all got bolt guns. And finally, in the elites, we have a Doredo Dreadnought. He's so expensive, 290 points.
He's very good though.
Yeah, he's critical to the list because I can use him kind of as a captain. Spend a CP, give him the reroll ones.
The
Because then my other captain can do what he needs to do. So he is valuable in that sense. And he has the accelerated autocannons. He's got double heavy bolter, and he has the 5 invuln to every unit within 6 inches. Then we'll go on to the troops. Now for the troops, I have 3 units of standard intercessors with standard intercessor bolt rifles, just the AP minus 130 inch rapid fire range. And then we have 2 units of 5 assault intercessors, which have just been absolutely great. Invaluable every battle, tearing stuff up and claiming objectives for me. And then another Indomitus unit here, we have, this is in terms of the sort of also-rans, I've got 1 unit of heavy support, which is my Eradicators. These guys have been so, that we'll find out more. Like, I'm just keep using them, and, they do bring some easy, cheap, anti-tank to my list, which I do need, so they are sort of essential to the list.
If I could just jump in on them for a second, I think 3 is a perfectly acceptable amount. I think they start getting ridiculous when you take 3 units of 3.
Well, if you build
and
4 Eradicators,
it costs you like 1 CP or 2 CP to outflank them. That's when they get a bit silly. But a unit of 3, guys, I know there's a lot of talk on the internet, people are like, oh, if you take Eradicators, you're a cheesemonger. You're not. If you take 1 unit, it's totally acceptable.
I mean,
more than that, you start getting a bit cheesy.
I mean, it's just a combined arms list, and they bring some anti-tank, you know.
There's nothing wrong with taking a strong unit, but just don't, if you're playing a friendly, just don't spam the crap out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And then I've got 3 Outriders. Now, I've found I kind of have almost more board control than I need since I started running the 3 Outriders with 3 squads of Intercessors and 2 squads of Assault Intercessors. So the plan was to, because I've got these Outriders and I can use them to sit back on an objective early game, which the Intercessors would start off doing, and then move forward and advance and be flexible as I need them. I don't really need the Intercessors to hold my back lines early on, but as I said, I'll just play with the familiar list, but I will probably be dropping 2 units of Intercessors and taking an extra Death Company and a unit of Tartarus Terminators in the future for my next list. That's my alternate list.
Maybe when that Codex drops.
But
Maybe when the Codex drops.
Yeah, well, when the Codex drops, you know, if we've got 2 wound tactical Marines, we've got a lot in the future, so who knows where we're going to go. But for now, this is my 2,000 or 1,999 points, so not quite 2k. Blood Angels, let's see how successful they can be against their opponents, the Genestealer Cult. So here we have Tim's 2,000 points worth of Genestealer Cult. If you want to take us through in a bit more detail, Tim. Is it 2k on the nose?
It's 2k on the nose, so if you would like to concede because you are 1 point down, I will accept your concession.
I will, I'm going to try my luck. I'm going to see if I can win against the odds.
So you have chosen death.
Yeah.
Okay, so start off on the left, we'll go through some troops. So we have 1, 2, 3 squads of neophyte hybrids. All of them have 2 heavy stubbers, 2 grenade launchers, and the acolyte leader, neophyte leader, has a autogun as well, and they are differentiated. This guy's got a pistol, and you can see they've got a bit of extra equipment on the sergeants, you see, so that's how we can tell. This guy's got the high-tech crowbar, that's why he's in charge.
Okay.
We then have, they will be riding in 3 Goliath trucks, each one armed with double autocannon and a heavy stubber. They do not have cash for demo charges because they're a little expensive, and if you're in demo charge range with a truck, that's 6 inches. It's a little close for comfort.
Fair enough.
And then you have, the great thing about the trucks is that they are open top, so the guys inside can shoot out, so a little mobile battle bunker there.
Oh, that's cool.
Then we have 2 Ridge Runners, Achilles Ridge Runners, both of which armed with a heavy manning laser and double heavy stubber. These will be in 1 unit. Now, I used to run these as separate units, but there's a stratagem in the Greater Good which allows you to boost our unit of Achilles Ridge Runners, and it gives those heavy stubbers +1 to hit, +1 to wound. So it makes sense just to slap them together now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I really like that model, by the way. Super cool.
I love the Genestealer Cult models. It's a shame the rules are a little funny at the moment, but hopefully they'll change. I then have 5 more troop choices. So overall, guys, I'm running 2 battalions just in case anyone's curious of the layout of this. And 4 of the troops, we've got 6 more troop choices, sorry. 4 of them are neophyte hybrids just with autoguns, and 2 of them are acolyte hybrids. There's 5 acolytes in each one of those squads, and they would normally have close combat stuff, but today I'm mixing things up for 9th, and I'm taking 2 demo charges in each squad.
Okay.
So we'll see if that pays off.
Okay.
Then we have the sort of hard-hitting stuff at the back. We have a unit of 10 aberrants, absolute chunky unit here, guys. I know aberrants are overcosted, but they are also incredibly deadly. So if they can get there, they will tear 1 unit to absolute shreds. But you just have to figure out a way of getting them there. And it's a bit more tricky in 9th edition, but we'll see if we can come up with a way of getting them there.
Do not worry, viewers. I was careful to boil Tim in hot water for 40 minutes prior to the battle report, just to try and remove any excess salt. Before we started filming. So because the Genestealer Cult, you know, they've got a reputation at the moment that you know, they're pretty hard to manage as the controlling player. You know, they some people are saying that they're the bottom tier. They are the bottom of the pile, so to speak. Yeah. So, but you know, Tim's not afraid of that, and he's taking this unit, which is how much for 10 guys?
370.
370 points.
The reason why we won't go too far down the aberrant rabbit hole right now, but just to give you guys a comparison, I could take if Johnny took 370 points, he could buy himself 2 units of Terminators with that.
Yeah.
And they have the same amount of wounds, but those Terminators will beat those aberrants every day of the week. Yeah, that's,
there we go.
So we won't
go into that anymore. As I said, we'll boil in water first.
Exactly.
Remove the salt.
Exactly. Fucking Games Workshop. And then so we've got 5 Atalan Jackals, Biker Boys, 5 demo charges. We know it, we love it. That unit at the beginning of 8th was 75 points. Over the course of the end of 8th and 9th, they are now up to 120, but they're
I still think they're great.
Good.
Yeah, that's still valuable.
Still valuable.
Great value.
So leading this army, we have the HQs, and I know you can only take one of each character per detachment, so I've split them up so they're all legal. So I've got leading one battalion, we've got a patriarch who has to be my warlord, which even though that's restrictive, it's such a cool rule, and he will have the warlord trait. I believe it's called Shadow Stalker, so he's -1 to hit. So
okay.
It's very important to keep him alive because he is very powerful, and I've tried multiple ways of keeping him alive. The best way is simply just to make him -1 to hit.
Yeah,
that's really good. We then have the Magus. This guy, he's just my standard Magus, and he will be trying to mind control some stuff today. And then we have the
and just to note, I sort of asked him, and we checked the rule book, and mind control, it used to be...
It's really good, actually.
Yeah, it's got a big boost because you can now use it to control someone to shoot into engagement range.
Yeah.
So essentially you can use... normally the best way to block mind control is to have a friendly unit within engagement range of that unit, so it can only really do one attack, so like your knight can only like stomp you instead of unleashing its mega weapons or whatever. But now, that's not blocked, so... You can just mind control something and shoot it.
So you'd have to if I mind control the Dorado and there's 5 intercessors in range, in engagement range, like shielding it, I have to shoot those intercessors. But that's fine because I'm getting to kill intercessors.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't really. Yeah, exactly. So that's a little boost. If you guys hadn't spotted that, anyway, carry on. Sorry to interrupt.
Quite like that. Then we have the Jackal Alphas. Absolutely love this model. Key to success in my army. This lady basically will be giving lots of people +1 to hit every single turn. It's going to be good for getting around annoying terrain, and it's going to be good for basically making Genestealer Cult hit on a 3+, which is really nice.
Okay.
She's got a stratagem in Greater Good now for 1 CP. Rather than it being 6-inch range to give everyone +1 to hit, it could be 18-inch range.
Wow.
So...
That's what you're going to spend CP on. You've not got that much CP to start.
I've got 9, but then I get 1 every turn.
Okay.
And I'm not... We'll go into that at the end. So then we've got the Acolyte Icon War for some 6-up Feel No Pain. And we have the Sanctus, very controversial choice. I did take him as is, which means I've taken him with the knife, which means he's probably useless. But I like the knife, and I have been able to get it to work in a couple of games. He's very good. What I like taking the knife is that he's cheap, and you can spend 0 CP for the perfect ambush, which allows, if it's on any other unit you have to spend 3 CP, on him it's 0 CP, and he can just plop in and move D6 inches towards the enemy.
Yeah.
So it's free. So you just bring him in and you just do it.
But you can't do it on another unit at the same time. But if you've used all the units, or you're not want to want to use them yet. Yeah, exactly.
He's free, and it's just a cheap way. Or I just drop him in on an objective, and he just has a great time.
Okay.
He's just a very cheap character, and he's actually pretty good in combat. And then we have the last character. We have the female Magus, who I have nicknamed Karen. Now, the reason she's been called Karen is because she demands to speak to people's managers, and how that is represented in game is I've spent 1 CP pre-game to allow her to cast 2 psychic powers a turn. So she's like a super Magus. And so every turn she will be using Smite and Psionic Blast, which I like to represent as her screeching at the enemy, saying, "I want to see your manager!" So this is Karen, she is the Magus.
I will introduce her to Alexander Garviel, that's fine. The manager can have a private
It's a great way of basically having... I've always said that Genestealer Cult need a way of just having a character who can just put out a bit of mortal wounds. And on average, she'll put out 3 mortal wounds a turn, which is nice. That's a dead eradicator a turn. And if she gets lucky, she can put out D6 plus D3 mortal wounds a turn.
Right.
So she could do 9. She could go Super Saiyan and do 9 mortal wounds in 1 turn, but the average is 3, which is still pretty good.
Right, so that's your Genestealer Cult. So we're playing No Man's Land today, which is Lengthways Deployment. So Mission 4. We'll get set up and then we'll be back with you to roll off for who gets the first turn.
Yeah.
So after deployment, in case you're unfamiliar with Genestealer cult antics, this is their deployment. They just put down a variety of blips. They can spend CP to remove the blips, and you can't move within 9 inches of the blips. But they put these blips down, these sensor beacons, so we know that something's afoot. We're not sure exactly what goes where yet. The Blood Angels on this side of the board. I've gone for a unit of Outriders and a unit of Intercessors on my backline objective. 2 Assault Intercessor squads as a wall in front of the characters here. I've got Dorado here and some Eradicators just next to him. I was tempted to move them up behind the obscuring terrain and then move into it the next turn, but I thought, well, we'll just see what we can do on the flank. But they've got reduced range, so it's a bit of a risky deployment for them. And then 2 more squads of 5 Intercessors just on this bit of raised terrain, sort of looking towards this objective. So in terms of the deployment, it is no man's land, so we've got 5 objectives, 1 in each deployment zone. Tim's got 1 here amongst his blips. I've got mine there, as mentioned previously. And then 2 12 inches either side on the centre line, and then there's 1 just in the citadel, which is obscuring terrain. Everything else is counting as +1 to your armour save against shooting. And we count these as being covered, but not underneath them. But anything else, the footprint, you are in cover as well.
So it's now, scalable, breachable.
Scalable, breachable, all of that. Now, in terms of secondaries, the Blood Angels have gone for raise the banner. We've gone for engage on all fronts and thin their ranks. And I was having that classic self-doubt when picking secondaries today. Tim went for engage on all front. He went for line breaker and repair teleport homer. So I think he's planning on spending a lot of time in my deployment zone.
Maybe.
But, you know, I've only got a narrow deployment zone, so it might be difficult for him to get in there. Depending on, you know, what happens in the course of the game. So we're going to roll off now to see who goes first. If I go first, Tim has to reveal his blips after my movement phase. Otherwise, he'll have to reveal them immediately. No. So, do you want to grab a dice, Tim?
I have un dice.
Right, okay, so you...
I have rolled a 1.
And I have rolled a 6. So,
you get to pick.
You know what, I think I will go first. I'm just going to crack on.
Go for it.
Right.
You don't know where anything is.
So the Blood Angels started off proceedings with a fantastic advance roll of 13 inches for 1 unit and 11 for another. That allowed me to split the Assault Intercessors into Formation V. And one ran onto 1 objective in the centre, 1 Assault Marine unit ran onto this, and they both raised banners at the end of that movement phase. And then likewise my final Intercessor squad raised a banner on my back objective. So that gave me 3 banners raised, which is good progress. Then in terms of other movement, my Intercessors over here had just jogged along the metal walkway, and my Eradicators moved up. Only 1 got into range. I forgot that I could advance and shoot them just like an idiot. And then Tim, because he does his deployment after that, I thought it was a bit unfair because he'd sort of placed this guy within range and you probably could have twizzled him out of range or something, so I decided not to, just trying to be fair, because it's just a fun game. Then after my movement, and then the Outriders jetted forward behind the Assault Intercessors, covering the Sang Ancient and Mephi. And then I've got the Captain and Lamarty's just hidden, not in the terrain, but behind the obscuring terrain here, so they can't be shot at for a turn. Just moving up, ready to pounce. So then after that sort of general advance with most of my units, I popped reroll 1s for shooting on my Dorado, turning him into a pseudo captain, and the Intercessors opened fire but managed to just bounce every shot off this truck. Then the Dorado opened up, and with his first blast from the accelerator autocannons, I think that's what they're called, or Amphilis autocannons or something like that. Anyway, he blew up one of the Ridge Runners, which is good because they've got, you know, decent AP. Again, the Dorado, his 5-up infant isn't really going to make any difference against Tim's army. It seems like he's becoming less and less useful with the 5-up infant. It was when I first started in 9th. I must have been playing against a lot of Plasma and Melter and stuff because he was doing real work. I played against Ultramarines with like those Destructor, Plasma, Primaris dudes and that kind of thing. So, but now that I feel like 5-up infant isn't going to be that valuable, but yeah, I thought I'd get rid of the high AP weaponry that Tim has there. And as these act as a unit, he blew up 1, but then he could shoot the other with his heavy bolters because it carried across, which was nice. And I managed to do 2 wounds with the heavy bolters, and then the Outrider squad followed that up and did a further 2 wounds. And everyone else couldn't shoot because they were either out of range or they'd advanced. So good board control from the Blood Angels. They have, I believe, I think, I might have messed this up slightly because I was going to put myself in table quarters. Is he over 6 inches away? He should be.
The middle of the board is here.
So we'll just check. But so I'll do the points in a sec. But so far, raised banners on 3, and I'm holding 3 objectives. So the Blood Angels, as they charged forth, suffered devastating losses of 2 assault intercessors for the entire gun line of the Genestealer cult. And me and Tim were sort of, well, I was laughing, Tim was frowning, but, you know, metaphorically speaking, me and Tim were having a bit of a chuckle because he's got all these boosts that bringing up to 3 up to hit with his Genestealer cult, and that's sort of where I am with my starting point. I don't even have a lieutenant, I don't have a chapter master, but just with those reroll ones, you know, it makes a big difference. And yeah, so Tim's shooting all in all. I think it was a really good idea to get rid of the mining laser because he was the only one who actually killed a model, wasn't he? He killed 1 intercessor off, and then all your combined firepower managed to slowly chip a second intercessor down 1 wound at a time.
I think it's important to note that my dice were a little below average. My dice were a little below average, and then Johnny, I did actually get quite a few wounds through, multi-damage wounds through, but you know, I got 3 wounds on a smite. Johnny made all 3 5 but feel no pain. And then in the rest of my turn, did about, you know, did another, I think it was 12 wounds through, and Johnny made 8 out of 12 of those, which is why I only lost 2.
I mean, I wasn't really counting, but
he was making pretty much all his. So even if I got something through, that banner just kicked in and saved it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much did it hurt when I decided to command point reroll that?
Oh yeah, I would have killed 1 more, but he command point rerolled 1, so just to put salt in the wound.
There we go.
Salt into the salty, salty wound.
Put salt back in the salt mine.
So it is what it is, you know. We'll see how it goes. But that was my turn, yeah.
That was your turn. So in terms of scoring, you didn't take enough table quarters, did you?
Anything.
So you didn't get anything, and you didn't raise any banners, nothing like that.
Nothing, man.
So if I'd taken first strike, and I was like, oh, I don't want to take first strike because Genestealer cult can block it, but I would have got 8 points.
No, you didn't wipe out a unit. So
I didn't wipe out a unit, so there we go. Fair enough, because they count as 1 unit.
I would have blocked it.
You would have blocked it, so it was the right choice. So yeah, it looks like the Genestealer cult, not much to report. We've got the Blood Angels turn 2. Coming up now, we've got a lot of units ready to get stuck in, so let's see what we can do. So Blood Angels turn 2, the momentum was good, and we've made it into their line, spread across the board. I've made another mistake on my engage on all fronts. I'm just not thinking straight today, it's just one of those. But as a testament to the Blood Angels, you know, they're doing well for me, if that makes sense. So the mistake I made was I forgot to nudge these guys a couple of inches over. So I'm not holding this back table quarter here. So I'm only holding 3 table quarters. So I'm only getting 2 points for engaging on fronts. I could have quite easily got 3, but I just rushed into my turn and forgot to move these guys. So silly little mistakes like that. And if you want to find out, me and Tim did a 2-hour Vox cast on all the traps, all the pros and cons, a really in-depth, everything you need to know analysis of secondary objectives after we played sort of 15 or so games between us. And that's the video before this one. I'll put a link in the description. But I highly recommend you checking that out because then you won't make the same mistakes that I'm making this game. But okay, so at the beginning of my turn, I gained 3 points for raise the banners and 15 points for holding more objectives than my opponents. That was really nice. Then my Dreado moved up. He's just within 3 inches of that objective. He's also giving a 5-up invuln to all of these units. My Assault Marines moved up, but unfortunately their target ended up being out of range. The Eradicators are holding this objective in cover, and they've got a 5-mana Intercessor squad just behind them, also in cover. This squad decides to sit tight exactly where it was, so it could fire out 10 shots because it was over 15 inches away. And my Assault Intercessors moved towards the vehicles on this flank. Now, Tim was outraged, even though we checked this last game, he just had to check it again, but yes, heavy bolt pistols for Assault Intercessors are 18-inch range, and what that meant was I could shoot my characters off at one of his trucks over here, and then these guys, there was 3 of them, the front rank were essentially, or not the front rank, but these 3 here, the front sort of triangle, were in range of the truck, and they managed to plink a wound off with their strength 5, AP -1. Strength 4, 18-inch, AP -1 mega
every
pistols.
other heavy bolt pistol is 12 inches, but apparently when you give it to a solid intercessor, these guys have been doing some days down the range.
Yeah.
So they get up to 18 inches.
Yeah, they've got
Pretty
precise,
precisely bullshit. That's what it is, Johnny.
So then I kind of had overkill on my characters. So I moved the bikes up to sort of form a screen with my characters. They moved from this objective up front. With shooting, the Dorado managed to blow up one of the vehicles. As I said, Random Dakar managed to pop the final Ridge Runner. That was on 4 wounds scattered Dakar from across the army. The Eradicators managed to blow up one of the remaining trucks over here. And then we went on to the charge phase. So on the charge phase, and Tim, he lost a couple. I think he lost 3, then 2, then 1 on his exploding vehicle. So 6 men out of 30 on the jump out, which isn't that bad actually. That's so about right, isn't it? 1 and 6. Yeah. So then we charged in. The captain went for his Mrs. Sniper Lady. But as all these guys, Lamartis and 2 assault marines went for the remaining truck over here that had only a few wounds left. I kind of knew that when I blew it up, Tim would jump onto that objective and it might give him 5 points, but I also thought, let's just get this job done, because it's points for me to kill those vehicles whilst they're exposed. Yeah. Now, you may have noticed something controversial, which is that I've not brought any of my reserves on. And that's because I was confident with momentum of what I had that I could, rip and tear through the majority of what Tim had on the board. And then he's got, I think, more than half his army off because of Genestealer shenanigans. But still, it means I need those reserve forces to come in and respond. So, and I know Tim has to bring his stuff in because otherwise he's going to get wiped out in bite-sized chunks. So even though I went first, it kind of gives me an upper hand on the cat and mouse, and I'm happy with what I've got on the board in terms of board control now.
Yeah.
So all in all, it was just worth keeping the reserves off. So in combat, the bikes ripped through one squad of infantry that had jumped out. Tim decided not to. What's it called when you jump in front of someone? It's like Tau Savior Protocols, isn't it? Almost the same.
You're on 4+, you jump in front.
Yeah, so on 4+, you jump in front instead of a 2+ for a drone.
Insane loyalty or something.
So something like that. But essentially, he decided not to do that for his character because he wanted these guys to also be OBSEC on this objective. Otherwise, he would have lost that objective. So my captains killed his Mrs. Sniper Lady. I just couldn't get into base contact with his female Mageus Karen, which was really annoying. Unquestioning loyalty, there we go. Mephiston, I don't think even needed to strike because the Sanguinary Ancient he's not normally that reliable, usually buffs other people, but he got 12 through 3 hits,
4 wounds.
And he got 3 6s and a 5 on his D3s, didn't he? So he just wrecked that truck. So essentially Tim's lost all of his vehicles. He's got 9 men in that squad, 7, 8 men in that squad, and his other infantry squad's dead, but he has got a lot of reserves to bring on the board. Blood Angels are looking like a comfortable lead in terms of points, but you never know with Genestealer trickery what's going to happen next. I've tried to put these bikes as a rolling screen because then wherever he comes in, with these guys blocking and him within, and Mephisto and the characters within 3 inches of this unit, it means whatever angle he comes in at, he shouldn't be able to shoot my characters at least, which is good. But Tim's good with his trickery, and they are Genestealer cut, so we'll see if my confidence is misplaced. So I'll be with you. But yeah, looking really solid for the Blood Angels so far. We'll be with you after Genestealer Cult turn 2.
Yep.
So generations in the making, although the average lifespan of a Genestealer Cult in this game has been mere seconds, so how long each of those generations spent planning this isn't entirely clear, because the plan doesn't seem to be going off that well for the Genestealers. So they teleported a load of dudes in here. The assassin down here started repairing a teleport home at 5 points. Straight out the gate, so that's great. He brought his Mageus in here to mind control the Dorado. He ran the guys here who were engaged with Lamartis, and on this objective over here, and threw down my banner, cast down the sigils of the oppressors.
Yeah. Bash the fash.
Bash the fash. He brought in his demolition charge people here. So all of the plan was coming together. So he's got his infantry here, he's got his smite abilities on Alexander Garville, my captain, everything's going well. So then he did a psychic phase, and things continued to go very well. He managed to get 2 wounds, followed by 3 wounds on Alexander Garviel, but then Alexander passed 3 out of 5, feel no pains. So he ultimately, because he's taken a wound before from an exploding truck, he's taken 3 wounds in total. So he's close, but not dead.
So just to jump in, it went well.
Well, let me do the psychic phase first.
I was going to say, it went well in the turn that I didn't have to roll any dice. Then I had to start rolling dice.
Yeah, well, the psychic phase. Then he placed this guy very cleverly, his patriarch.
Yeah.
Yes, I got the name right. It's only taken me about 2 years of you collecting this army. So he used the patriarch and he placed him 25 inches away from Mephiston, so Mephiston couldn't block him. And then he did some casting with patriarch on Lamartes. Mental onslaught, and managed to, after that, only do one wound to Lamartes. Lamartes failed his feel no pain, so Lamartes had taken a wound. And he'd also taken a wound from... Oh no, that was it. Yeah, that was that. Then the Magus did control. Mephiston failed even with a re-roll to block the cast of 10, I think it was. Tim cast on an 11, then an 11, this is with his +1, then a 10, it was just really solid psychic. So he shot the Doretto, however this is where things started to get a little dicey. See, my Doretto is loyal to a fault, so when he heard the command crackle over the radar that my Outrider bikes were actually traitors and needed to be destroyed, he thought, I'll shoot near them. And he managed to do...
Killed one.
I think did he kill? No, I think he did 2 wounds to one, didn't he? He just did 2 wounds to one. Yeah. So he unleashed all his 8 shots hitting on 2s, strength 8, AP
-2. Hit with everything. Do you want me to say it? I hit with everything, and then got 2 wounds.
Yeah, he just fluffed the. No, he got 4 wounds, but then I made some passes.
I got 2 wounds.
And then his heavy bolter. Just fluffed it, just totally bounced off.
No, you made 2 feel no pains.
2 feel no pains. This banner, just great. And then he threw the demo charges. I think on average he's supposed to generate about 16. They have D6 shots each. But in reality he only threw 12. Then he only hit with like 5 of those. And then his wounding was insanely good. He got like 5s and 6s and 4s all the way. He didn't drop below that. But
your banner.
My banner again, feel no pain, and with the 4 wounds of the Outriders,
you're on 50% feel no pain, it's not 33%.
Well, and even with the let's put it this way: the point I want to make from a tactical standpoint in terms of the Outriders is they work beautifully with your character block coming forward. They can keep up, they can advance, they can charge, they can stay ahead. So you've always got some angles blocking. But the 4 wounds means that even multi-damage weapons often leave one alive on like 1 or 2 wounds.
Yeah.
Especially with a Feel No Pain banner. So this guy, so the Sanguinary Ancient with the Feel No Pain banner running up with the Outriders, it's so difficult to actually down an Outrider and finish him off. And I ended up after all of that with 1 Outrider left on 2 wounds, and it took all of Tim's firepower. He really wanted to shoot Alexander Garviel, my captain and warlord, but he had no choice. He had to shoot the Outriders just to finish them off, because he really knew that how dangerous they are when they get to turn 3. Even a sole Outrider sergeant could tear through an entire squad of Genestealer cult. Realistically, including leadership and that kind of thing, it's quite possible for it to happen. So he shot at the Outriders, and with all of that, even with my Feel No Pains, it came down to the final wound. 2 heavy stubbers, 2 grenade launchers.
Yeah.
It just could not crack those Outriders. Tim was unlucky, and I was a little lucky, but also combined with just that unit combo of the Sang Ancient plus the Outriders, absolutely deliciously, rock solid, really good. In terms of other shooting, he then focused all of the shooting over this side onto Lamartes. And it really did take everything, but after he fired, 6 grenades plus, loads and loads and loads of Daka. Tim's rolling was terrible, but I actually couldn't make a save. Lamartes didn't make a single save or Feel No Pain, and he just fell to Daka as to be expected, because he's only got a 3-up armor save and he wasn't in cover, and these guys couldn't block him, sadly. So I kind of knew sending Lamartes over to this truck might be death for him. And he is really important when the Death Company haven't come in yet, so that is a major loss to the Blood Angels for their turn 3 deep strike. Now, in terms of points, we've got Tim managed to do better. He managed to think a lot more tactically than me. So we got Line Breaker with 2 units. He also got engaging all fronts in all 4 table quarters. 1 staying over here, just that side of the line when he attacked my Space Marine Intercessors. These guys here. Have you got one in this table quarter?
Yeah, the Magus is just on the right side of it.
Where?
Female Magus under here is just on the right side.
Oh, okay. Female Magus.
Karen.
I can't. On this side of the board,
Yeah,
is she?
Karen, I measured it. I had plenty more movement. I just shoved her over.
Okay, that's fine. Cheeky, but that's fine. And then these guys here. So that takes Tim to a total because he managed to get onto. He only was going to get 5 points because I blew him out of this vehicle and he managed to start with that unit there. He scored 10 points at the start. So Tim's on 20 points. Tim's on
17.
17.
But I have a guy repairing a teleporter over, so I should go up to 22.
And whereas the Blood Angels are on 20 at the end of turn 2. And that was a big push, a big commitment for the Genestealer cult. The Blood Angels now have the Sandguard and Death Company to come on. So we'll see what we can do in Blood Angels turn 3. So the Blood Angels Reserve Sandguard came in this corner here, in this terrain. Then I kept my Death Company off. I figured I'll keep them just in case because I can only 3d6 one unit. I would have brought the Death Company into the central tower and taken out a couple of these units, but I thought, you know what, I'll hang on to them because they're still a massive threat just off the board. In terms of other movement, I jobbed this squad up to here, so they're close enough to just hop onto that objective. So this objective is strongly secured with a banner on it. I ran my Assault Marines up towards the bikes that were here, and I moved my characters around the remaining squad and Magus over here. Then in Psychic, Mephiston failed a power and was denied another, I think. Yeah. Or did he get wings off?
No, I denied it.
So he got no powers off.
Yeah.
So it's just been a denial fest all game. Then we went on to the shooting phase. The Eradicator started off by shooting the Magus or Magus that had previously controlled the Dorado and just flattened him. I got 9 wounds. Tim did well on his saves, but not enough from all that Melter Fire and Feel No Pains and all that. The Dorado just shot into a few infantry over here and killed a couple of Tim's. Are they called Aberrants, the big guys?
They are called Aberrants.
Aberrants. Yeah. I'm doing really well on the names this game.
You are.
And so killed a couple of Aberrants off because they were in an equidistant line. I didn't worry about killing a couple off because it wasn't going to increase the charge distance at all for the Sandguard. Then these guys sprayed into the infantry under here because I just want to reduce that thingy loyalty where it's like a drone save but on a 4-up because I wanted to make sure his bird died, his Magus, Karen. Because she's been really lethal. She's almost killed my captain. Now, my captain was tactically... He basically wasn't a coward, is what I'm trying to say, but he decided that what was tactically best for him, because he's only on 1 wound, was to attack the infantry surrounding Karen in the combat phase. These assault intercessors charged the bikers that were there and just blew through them, just absolutely ridiculous. 26 attacks, just wrecked them and then consolidated this way. I got an 11 inch charge from them, so they just travelled miles. The captain killed a couple of infantry, and then the Sang Ancient, even though I charged with Mephiston as well, the Sang Ancient actually did the job and just killed off the Major straight away. He's been doing amazing. 4 hits, 4 wounds every single combat phase that he's been in. In terms of combat over here, I of course spent 2 command points for a 3d6 charge with my Sandguard into the Aberrants. I'd already killed 3 off from shooting because they'd used their...
You killed 1.5 actually.
Did I? Not that much. From my explosive... And I'd spent a CP for explosive judgment to reroll wounds on them as well. Then I went in with the Sandguard, and because they were unsupported by characters, they didn't have any rerolls. They still did pretty well, and they brought the unit down to just 4. Then I decided to spend my final command point to make them -1 to hit. And the reason why I did that was because I thought, those Aberrants, you know, if they... there's only 6 Sandguard, and Tim's got a chance of starting the game in control of that objective, which is not what I want. If I don't kill them, that's fine, but I don't want him to control that objective. And that was a really difficult decision because I knew I'd get a CP at the start of my next turn, and I was going to greedily cling on to that other CP that I had, my last CP, so that I could 3d6 the Death Company in when they deep struck turn 4, and just to make sure they come in and just flatten the last of the resistance from these Xenos scum. But I thought, you know what, the Death Company are just going to have to, do what they do on their own and just chance it on the charge because I need these Sandguard alive because it'll be a big point swing. And I'm glad I did because Tim only managed to kill 1.
Only killed 1, so
I have 5 there. and you have 4.
Yeah, it's really unlucky though. I think we need to mention that, dude. I think we do because
Tim's feeling like he's been really unlucky this game. I don't think necessarily.
Just to give you an idea, I was hitting on 4s with my hammers and had 4 attacks. I only got 1 hit, but I did get the wound through. But then Johnny made that on a 6, so that saved a Sangard. And then
because I've got a 5 up save.
So statistically, statistically that guy should have died. And then when it came to my improvised weapon striking, I put 6 wounds on him, and that's AP -1. So that should have killed another one. But he only failed 1 save. Now if we'd rolled statistically there, Johnny would have lost 2 more, which meant I would have controlled that objective, and then
you start on 10 points.
And then actually there was another bit of luck over here where I made like.
Oh yeah, so these assault marines, 2 guys went onto this objective. I was tempted to raise the banner, but I thought, you know what, I'll hit those guys right next to me. And I killed 7 off, I think.
Yeah,
like
but you should have already killed
that objective as well.
But from the save that I had 6. So there's multiple times in the turn where I had 6 invulnerable saves take because I'm bladed cog, and every single time I didn't make any. Now in these 2 situations, it's really important to note, guys, because if I'd had 1 more man left, if I'd killed the 2 over here, that objective would have been mine. If I had 1 man left in the middle, that objective would have been mine. So when it comes to my turn 3, I would have been on more objectives than Johnny.
And got 15 points.
I would have got 15 points. And considering Johnny only got 5 in his last turn, that would have been a big boost for the Genestealer. But instead, I had bad luck. I didn't make my 6 up out. I have 6 dice. I didn't
well played, brother.
I know. So out of my 6 dice, I didn't get my 6, so that guy died. And then out of Johnny's saves here, he made them. So
with the Sangard.
All I want to say, guys, is I'm not. This is 40k. There's luck. There's no salt here, but this is a really
bit of salt.
Little bit, but not too much. But what how me and Johnny often say in battle reports, like if someone has slightly good luck and the other person has slightly bad luck, it actually is a really big swing.
When combined with superior tactical efficiency.
And, having an OP army, having Marines. But no, just taking all that out. No, I'm not being silly. I'm being serious for 1 second. That swing in 9th is even bigger. It's not like, oh, I lost a few more guys. It's, holy crap, that's a 10-point difference. Just from a little bit of bad luck on one person's side and a little bit of good luck on the other person's side.
He's got some units to come in, haven't you?
I got 2 basic units to come in.
2 infantry troops units to come in, and then he's got this sort of little castle in my deployment zone, which he can score lots of secondaries with, because he's got behind enemy lines. He's going to score another 5 points for that. He's going to get another teleport homer off. That's another 5 points. Despite my vast board control, because Tim has had the opportunity to throw down my banners on a couple of objectives, because he threw this one down on the back when he killed the intercessors with the aberrants. Essentially, he is scoring well, and he's probably ahead in points of the Blood Angels. So it's the schemes of the Genestealer cult
are coming off,
and you're scoring really well.
But my luck is.
And the Blood Angels, I've made the decision. What? I just want. I could have raised a couple of banners and scored more points next turn, but I thought, I want to command everything and just commit you to this one tiny little corner. And it's really hard for you to deep strike in any real. You've played really well, but like I say, it makes such a big difference when someone's able to make 50% of their feel no pains on a 5+ rather than 33%. But I don't blame you. Luck is luck. But then on the other side, it wouldn't be so bad if on the other side I was making my out of 8, I think out of 24 6 up invulnerable saves, I should have made 4. I made 1. Out of my 23 feel no pain 6 up I had available this turn, I made 1. So you see how it's really important to notice that there's a big swing, and there are armies, and I'm not going to say any more. There are armies that can build in that redundancy, who can get the extra feel no pain, who can get the rerolls when they need it, and it makes their armies super reliable. Let's look at it this way.
And it removes luck from the game.
I'm operating, without rerolls here. They didn't have rerolls; they're unsupported. Stuff like that. The assault marines down here, intercessors down here. You took on your guys; they're unsupported as well. So, it's a testament to the Blood Angels that despite their lack of support characters, because normally I'd have like 6 buff characters and I'm running 4.
Yeah. You've kind of noticed that over the last couple of games where it's like, oh, I don't need to.
They're good enough to run on their own.
Those Sangard have run 2-3 games that we've played now, and every single time
if you've got a bit of CP, you don't need a character. You need either this character or a bit of CP. You don't
because
need
they've got the point now where because they're Blood Angels and Astartes, when they're an Assault Doctrine, oh mama, you're looking at 4 attacks a guy.
It's about really careful. If you want to take a combined arms list, and you want to be very careful because you know you can spend a psychic power on giving one character extra attacks, then you can spend CP to give another one extra attacks. So Fiston can give himself extra attacks, and then your captain can extra attacks. Careful management like that. You've got stuff like litanies, and then you've got CP and stratagems for the units that aren't getting those buffs. So a common thing to do is to concentrate all your buffs and strategies into one area. So you have like one little blob. You've got all these litanies going off, you've got stratagems going off, you've got buffs going off from characters, and that little castle or Death Star is insanely powerful. But the way I have enjoyed running my Blood Angels in 9th is to actually spread that love around and to have to trust my Blood Angels.
You don't need to buff individuals up as much anymore.
I don't need to absolutely spam my buffs into one area. These guys have the buff support from the characters. These Assault Marines, so they'd reroll 1s from the captain to hit and reroll 1s from the Sang Ancient to wound. Then over here I've got my Dorado. I can spend a CP on him to give reroll 1s around him because he's a Dreadnought. If I need to, so that's a stratagem that can do a similar thing. And then you've got your Sangard, you've got your Death Company that have plenty of specific stratagems that just help them, so they don't need those characters anymore. And you've got Lamarches for the Death Company. So you want to combine my personal opinion is I find it very effective to have a combined arms force. And as I said, spread that love around.
Absolutely, but I feel like I'm not talking when I was talking about luck and everything. I'm not talking about Marines. This could be any army. The point I was trying to make is that if you have a turn where your opponent has slightly good luck and you have slightly bad luck, it can make, because it's progressive scoring throughout now, it can have huge consequences. In previous editions, if you had a slightly bad turn, because a lot of the missions were score at the end,
you could pull it back.
So I had one bad turn, but I've got until the end of the game to pull it back. Now you don't. If you have a bad turn, you fall behind, and then if they have a good turn,
a massive point swing.
It's too much of a point swing. So
that's just like your opinion.
That's like my opinion, man. You might be right, but you're an asshole. But the point is, no soul here, guys. Take your Marines out of this, which are a good faction. Take in Genestealer out, which are struggling a bit now. We're just talking about luck and 9th, and you have to look into account in 40k, of course. And it just shows with progressive scoring, it can have big consequences.
Right, well, with all of that, we've had a sort of mid-game tactical discussion, so we'll get on to the Genestealer Cult turn 3. So the Genestealer Cult are pulling out all the stops, trying to score as many points as possible. So these aberrants, in a planet generations in the making, were only a feint onto this objective. They pulled out, not being cowardly, it's all part of the master plan.
I don't need bravery.
And therefore, having a unit fully in this table quarter. Tim, then, he has 2 5-man squads left to bring on, but he brought one on this turn, so he had rather. But he kept one off because then he can do the same trick again. So that put a squad in this table quarter. He spent command points to throw a load of grenades at my captain, but he just couldn't hit for anything.
I got 8 shots on the grenade, on the demo charge, and I was like, good. And then I rolled the dice and got one hit. And this is
4 ups, right?
4 ups. And look, it's just the story of this fucking game, man. I just can't hit. I can't win.
He just
I'm so salty.
He's just sat dishevelled. He's sat dishevelled on the sofa.
This plan,
shoulders slumped.
This plan could have been in the making from the dawn of time, from the Big Bang, and it still wouldn't have made any difference.
So then he ran these 2 over here. They were in combat against the Intercessors, but he ran them out, so he had this objective as well. Not this objective, he had this table quarter as well. Then of course he already had this table quarter. I think and you had that objective as well, did you already?
I did indeed.
So he started this turn. We thought we had a genius manoeuvre. I thought, Tim, fair play, that is an excellent manoeuvre, because there's cult reinforcements as a stratagem that allows you to bring back...
summon reinforcements, and it says bring back D6 infantry models, so troop choice only.
So he would have been able to take this objective, and that would have made him start with 10 points. But unfortunately, it's not at the start of the turn, it's at the start of your movement phase, and obviously in the command phase is at the end of the command phase is when you score. Yeah. So we thought you could do it because initially we were like, you score at the beginning of the command phase. But then we realised you score at the end of the command phase after you've used stratagems in the command phase. So we're like, aha, you can do it. But then we checked the original rule and it's start of the movement phase. So gutted. So in terms of shooting and that kind of thing, obviously we mentioned the demo charges fluffing it over here. He shot a load of stubbers and all of that and stuff from over here into either these intercessors or my sand guard. None of the sand guard died. They made all their saves, and one of my intercessors died. So I only lost one intercessor in the whole turn.
One from a smite, one from an autogun.
Yeah, one from a smite, one from an autogun, one wound each time. So even when he got a smite, he got a D1. He's just not Tim's game.
Yeah. Sometimes it is.
But he is scoring really well. I think, if you look at the scores in that turn, Tim got 5 for his primary, not great. Then he got 5 for repairing the teleporter, because he did that with his assassin again. Another 4 for line breaker, and 3 for engaging on all fronts, because as we said, he had all the table quarters. So the Genestealer Cult, they're not fighting the fight the Blood Angels want them to fight. They're fighting the fight that they want to fight. Yeah. And they are scoring really highly versus the Blood Angels. But I will start this turn with more objectives than Tim. I should have taken domination and line breaker.
Metaphorically and literally, you would be dominating.
So I will start with 15 points on primaries, and then we'll take it from there. So I'll be with you at the end of Blood Angels, turn 4. So the Blood Angels, turn 4. The captain, Alexander Garviel, decided to raise a banner in the name of the Emperor and Almighty Sanguinius on that over there. This assault intercessor also raised a banner there to put me back up to 3 banners, although I only scored 1 banner point at the start of this turn for the one here. My assault intercessors were planning on charging the guys who deep struck in here or came up from the sewers, but their heavy bolt pistols and the Sang Ancient just strafed them down and they died. Mephiston ran and winged over here and then gave the Death Company an extra attack, and he got all his psychic powers off. Then the Death Company just shot in and killed just 2 squads. I think there was 2 men there and 2 men there, and they just split their fire and killed them with bolter fire. The Eradicators, the Doredo, 10 intercessors,
and these guys,
and the Sanguinary Ancient, Sanguinary Guard is what it took in terms of firepower just to kill the 4 aberrants. So Tim's look started to change there. And they just
bit late.
And so they absorbed a lot of fire, but eventually they died. I didn't want to charge them because I wanted to be in this table quarter because I'm trying to play smart now. And then the Death Company had saved my 1 CP. They failed the first charge, re-rolled it, got the 8 inches. They went further than that actually. I can't remember how far, but it was far enough to get into the Patriarch and his 10 buddies. And then because the Patriarch had the banner there, and he had all his buddies to make sacrificial saves.
My invuns and my field
all
of
this
pains.
came
This
together.
was the one turn when my luck actually turned, but it's too little too late.
And I think I did 2 wounds to the Patriarch in total and killed all the dudes, which is really good because the Death Company had an extra attack each from Mephiston. So they're on something crazy 7 attacks from a chainsaw or something like that. I can't remember what it was now, but it was literally handfuls of dice. But he managed to survive that. The mighty Patriarch. Maybe this is the trap he's always wanted to set.
Yeah, it's the -1 on the Patriarch. He's actually, they're only strength 4, so they're only wounding him on 4s, even with a +1. He's got a 5-up invuln. He's got a 6-up feel no pain. The guys that you try and chop down, they've got a 6-up invuln and a 6-up feel no pain. And finally, what I was trying to demonstrate with this army all came together in one little microcosm.
And he stopped my 10 DC from flattening his warlord. But they got the 10 dudes, so that was good enough for me.
Yeah.
I had initially wanted to actually trim both of these units away with my shooting and then use my Eradicators to melter that Xenos scum warlord with the final blast, but it didn't turn out that way, so I ended up having to shoot the aberrants because they were just absorbing so much goddamn fire. But yeah, all in all, Blood Angels done well there, so they've got 3 banners raised now, ready for the 5th turn, just to bring those points in a bit more. They've got units in all table quarters. And they've racked up a few more kills for thin their ranks. So yeah, it's 3 points plus 15 because I had more than you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's looking, the Blood Angels have pulled back the points there quite significantly, which is what the plan was. Set myself up in the first 3 turns to just max the scoring later on. So let's go on with Genestealer Cult turn 4. They have 1 5-man unit in reserve to come in. And then they've got this little micro castle over here that's currently being assaulted by the Death Company. So the Genestealer Cult are still doing really well to maximise their resources. So the Patriarch pulled out of combat with the Death Company, fainting off over to this table quarter towards Mephiston, maybe for a boss battle showdown, but actually just to score table quarters. And then he sent his little assassin dude out from here to attack the Death Company, and he shot at them as well. And I think he killed 3 with shooting, 2 with shooting,
and 3 left.
And then in combat, we'll just say it straight away, he only managed to kill 1 because I made a save with the Death. He got a couple of ones to hit. He got 5 attacks, a couple of ones to hit, another one to wound, and I made 1 save and made a feel no pain or something. I made a feel no pain and he killed a guy. Made no saves. Then in return, the Death Company just shanked him up with 5 attacks each.
It's just the story of this game. 5 attacks hitting on 2s, miss with 2.
These guys only generated 2 shots on their explosive charges against the captain, just determined to kill that captain. But they did manage to kill him off his invuln, and he's just, anything that's touched him has done damage to him this turn. So I think it might be time for Baron Harkonnen to have a stint.
Yeah.
Alexander Garviel's been at the front for a long time, so I think Baron Harkonnen, my other Smash captain, can lead a couple of battles, give that guy some much needed rest and recovery period behind the lines. Back on Baal Secundus. So that was that. So he couldn't charge in because he deep struck close enough to get those grenades off. And then that was basically it because he hasn't got many units. So all in all, he scored. He had 2 units behind enemy lines or line breaking, so he got another 4 points for that. He used one of these units for a teleport homer, repair teleport homer, so he scored another 5 for that, maxing it out because he's done that turn 2, 3, and 4. So I think it was 11 points in total. You didn't get anything for primary, did you? Because I've taken you off that objective with the Death Company. So nothing for primary. So now we're going on to Blood Angels turn 5 and their last opportunity to score. Get as many points as possible before all is said and done. So the Eradicators moved forward just into this building ready to give some covering fire for Mephiston on his way in. Everyone else kind of just stood still, spammed shots where they needed to. So these guys held this objective. I scored 3 points for Raise the Banner, all in all, at the beginning of that turn. These guys, everything else, all of these guys just stayed put and shot into Tim's sort of 30 or so infantry that were over here. And I killed off basically everyone. The Death Company made it in with the power swords, but and there was 3 guys left or something like that, but they only managed to kill a couple overall. Tim, this banner guy has absolutely been worth his weight in salt, wouldn't you say, Tim?
He's too little too late. It's good. It is good, and I could definitely see the potential.
What it means is in Tim's turn 5, he's got 3 models left on the board.
But I did get.
But you can score
plus 3 points for line break of max line break.
Yeah, you can max line break with those 2 units. That's nice. So we're just going to call it there because all Tim can do is score. He's on 12 already for getting it turn 2, turn 3, turn 4. So he's got 12. So the max he can have, even though it is 4, is 15 for secondary. So he gets an additional 3 in his turn 5. So what are the points in total, Tim? Have you added them all up?
Do it now. That's 8 for Raise the Banner, but you do get it at the end of the game as well. So you get 11 for Raise the Banner.
Sick.
Yeah, Raise the Banner's good because you can't get it turn 1, so you have to be able to max out some way.
Right, cool, yeah.
And so you got 11 for Raise the Banner, and then for Engage No Fronts, you got 2, 3, and 3. So you get 10 for that. Then the ranks, I think you had a maximum of 13 that you could get. You've definitely achieved it.
So 13 points, yeah, we counted that with the beginning.
So 13, and then you've got your painting score as well, because out of 100. So 45.
45 for primary.
50, and then for your secondaries, you got 34. And so that's 79, and then you got your painting score, so you got 89 out of 100.
Yeah, 89 out of 100. I forgot to mention, Mephiston went in for the boss battle here. The Eradicators actually did no additional wounds.
They've been rubbish this game, to be honest.
But yeah, well, they've just not been needed. Well, I killed all your vehicles by the end of turn 2. But Mephiston just ran in and just killed the Patriarch, no problem whatsoever, just murdered him in close combat. I didn't even get the psychic powers off to give him plus D3, but it wasn't, Mephiston snarled at the Patriarch and then took him limb from limb.
Yeah.
So what did you Genestealer cult end up with? Because you have scored really well all through the game. You've played. You've maximised your ability to do cunning things to get points.
So I got 20 primary, which is pretty abysmal, but I just kept dying. I tried with this army to try. I'll play the primary. Whatever. So I've got 20 primary. I got 9 for engage North fronts overall, and then I got 15 for line breaker, 15 for repair teleporter homer, 10 painting score. So that's 49 plus 20, 69. Hey, 69 points.
Hey. So 69 versus 89. So you still did really well. 69 is a really respectable score.
It's an extremely good number.
Yeah. Still, let's come on. We started well, to be fair, considering the start of this battle, we started in a very silly mood.
Yeah, I mean, I will give a 1 minute tactical summary of my army because I don't want to waffle. If I had pulled off my primaries, because my plan was...
This is the death pile, fair.
Yeah, my plan was to, because I've read a lot about if you just play the primaries and then do secondaries, you're okay. That makes sense, but take secondaries that you can just score without your opponent interacting, so like line break and stuff like that. And so if my plan had gone off and I'd actually been able to hold 2 objectives all game, which is all I wanted to do, all I tried to do all game was just hold 2 objectives, I would have got plus 20 points and it would have been 89-89.
But you couldn't match.
I would have only had 2 models at the end of the game.
So it's interesting because the primaries have really been. It's a true balance, isn't it? Like you've got to balance those primaries and secondaries. You can't presume you're just going to get your primary points. No. I am loving the mass infantry. I said at the beginning, I'm going to trade out a couple of squads of infantry because the outrise attachment's good, but the mass infantry, it's so damn useful. And these assault intercessors, they just run up to anything and just butcher them.
We were ahead of the curve.
And they can contribute to shooting as well.
I mean, in 8th edition, between the two of us, between Black Templars and Blood Angels, we were like, infantry marines is good. And 9th has come along. And I've said this 100 times on my channel, so I'll just say it for one time for the benefit of your viewers. 9th is about durability and elite infantry. This army is perfect for that. It brings it in spades.
What, my army?
Your army is perfect for it. You've got good shooting with intercessors, you've got good combat with intercessors, you've got a nice little castle support unit with your Dorado, and you are durable because you've got so many wounds and you've got feel no pains. Wherever you need them, you've got to feel no pain.
And the mobility to just get everywhere.
And it's so mobile because I kept trying to target your mobile units. I was like, right, get rid of the bikes, get rid of Lamatis, get rid of the captains. I brought your mobility down quite a lot. I mean, at the end of it, you've only got 2 Death Company and like 2 Sangard left, something like that.
I've still got 4 Sangard left.
Like it's just.
For me, I'm just really enjoying. I'm really enjoying the combined arms. I'm really enjoying the fact that, I can score really. I just love it. I'm loving this list. Absolutely loving it.
If I was to make
really good, I want Terminators in there though, but I don't know what to drop.
Yeah.
If you've got any suggestions for me what to drop for my Terminators, comment below.
I mean, the only changes I would make to this army is
to put it on a shelf tonight.
Let's put it on a shelf. No, I think this army does. I think Genestealer got a potential. I would get rid of the last vestiges of this army that make it a Genestealer army. I would get rid of the aberrants because they didn't.
Take some Lehman Russers.
They take too much, and I would take more stuff that allows me to sit on 2 objectives. If I had been able to park 50 bodies and a couple of tanks on one objective, 50 bodies and a couple of vehicles on another objective, and had just things dropping in every turn for line breaker, repair, teleporter, homer, I would have been great. But get rid of those aberrants, they're too expensive. Get rid of the bloody combat neophyte guys, acolytes, too expensive, they don't do anything.
I think the 5-man squad's running in and scoring. You've got to play
just
clever.
Take them for line breaker, don't take them for blowing things up.
I mean, I could have scored higher because my first couple of turns, I was like, so my first turn and second movement phase, for some reason I just couldn't think straight. I was just making loads of tactical errors, but unfortunately for you, it didn't put me too far behind, and then obviously just curb stomped you. Anyway, we'll call it there, Tim. 'Cause I've got to get back, and then we're playing D&D in about half an hour, aren't we?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. D&D with the boys. So. This has been the Schola Progenium, running Blood Angels. It's been Mordian Glory. Make sure you check out his channel if you're not already aware of it. Tim generally runs, well, if you need him to know anything about Imperial Guard, You only need to go to Mording Glory to find it out. So this has been Schola Progenium Mording Glory. I hope you found the video interesting, entertaining and exciting. Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.
Yeah.